Greetings, everyone. We thank you for joining us today. I hope you are all doing well and keeping safe. My name is Dr. Oluremi Adewale. I am a healthcare practitioner in Canada with over 20 years of experience in areas including hospital, community health, public health, where I currently work as a mental health nurse consultant with a major municipality in Canada. Just so you know, my role in this position include health promotion, consultation, community capacity building, development of practice guidelines, policy and procedure, and provision of training and workshops for organizations and community agencies. I am also the president and the CEO of Women Focus Canada. Before we begin, I would like to briefly introduce to you Women Focus Canada. Women Focus Canada is a Canadian registered not-for-profit organization with the goal of sharing best and promising practices that promote health and wellness for girls, for women, families, and communities in Canada and beyond. We address gender-based violence and trauma, physical, mental, and psychological health, gender rights and equality for women and for girls. In addition, Women Focus Canada builds capacity and empowers individuals in improving their lives while contributing to their social and economic development of their communities. So you know, Women Focus Canada does not only support girls and women, we also support individuals, families, and communities. Our team is driven by passion and dedication to support and inspire and to empower girls and women and individuals in improving the health and well-being of our communities. I invite you to visit our website at www.womenfocuscanada.org for more info. I am thrilled to let you know that Women Focus Canada is partnering with Canadian Red Cross Society and the Government of Canada for this project. And this project is targeting the Afro-Caribbean in Toronto to elevate community awareness, disseminate information, provide education about the prevention, the effects, and the risk of COVID-19, and of course, to provide information on how people can access critical services. I am so delighted to be your moderator for today. And my co-moderator is Roina Power. Do you want to say hello?
Sure, I can say hello as well. I am always delighted to be here alongside such amazingly talented and knowledgeable presenters, and I'm really excited to hear everything that's going to be shared this evening.
Thank you. I would like to express my appreciation and recognition to our 4 speakers. They will be introduced in due course. The goal of this webinar is to support you to discuss self-care and resiliency after COVID-19. With everything that is happening worldwide in these unprecedented and perplexing times, it is needless to say that practicing self-care and building resiliency should be our top priorities. This is the time that we have been waiting for. I am so excited to hear from our panelists, and it is my great honor and privilege to introduce to you our first speaker for the night. Her name is Eve One. Eve has been an Ontario lawyer since 1987. As a lawyer, Eve worked at Osler, one of the Canadian premier law firms in downtown Toronto. She has since had a successful career as a corporate commercial lawyer with a specialty in the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical device sectors. She's certified to teach programs that inspire and transform life, and she has been coaching for over 12 years. Please join me to welcome Eve. Take it up, Eve.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction, Remy. I appreciate it. I'm just going to share my screen right now. So, self-care and resilience in the era of COVID. My intention for my time here, or our time together, is that you will have greater clarity on something in your life here related to self-care, and you're going to have greater confidence in your abilities. Now, just a little bit of backstory. What Remy shared is very top level. I came to this work at a time that was very challenging. It was related to my mom had passed, she had dementia, and there was family litigation on the estate. And I, being a lawyer, was responsible, and there was a tremendous amount coming towards me. And I found that my thoughts were very negative, very challenging. And I felt like I was on this down escalator. I didn't know where to get off or how to shift these thoughts that were just really having a toxic effect. I'd started to have a lot of pain in my body. And I realized I'd actually lost faith in myself. And so not long after that, I made a decision I was going to change things. And not long after I was introduced to the coaching work that I now teach and coach. And I'm going to share with you a few of the strategies and principles that I use and I teach in order to help people shift. It's really around mindset as a mental health tool. And so I'm going to share with you a few strategies today here. Now, my promise is that I'm going to give you what I can here. And of course, 15 minutes doesn't give a lot. So if you'd like to know more, I'll share how you can do that at the end. So what is resilience? Well, Wiki defines it as the capacity to recover quickly, adjust easily, and actually spring back. Well, in order to do that, you see, you're capable of far more than you know. And one of the things I know from the work that I do is that our goals and dreams are often born from challenges that we face. Now, we're facing significant challenges on many, many fronts here. And yet there's a gem or there's something in it for us that we can discover and use to our benefit as well. So John Rogers says, change takes place inside first and then manifests on the outer level. And there is a physics for shifting our results and changing our mindsets around things. And it goes like this. It's called the results formula. It's actually physics, and it starts with our thoughts. Our thoughts actually produce a magnetic field, and they actually also produce different hormones and chemicals in the brain, and that start to course through the body. If we have fear thoughts, like many of us have in the last 7 months now, we're going to start to generate cortisol in the body. Cortisol is an immune suppressant, which is not exactly what we're looking for at this particular moment. But thoughts actually generate chemicals we call our feelings or emotions. From those feelings and emotions, we will take actions, and our actions determine our results. So this is the law of cause and effect. And some of you may be saying, oh, I know that. And yet, do you know the power of knowing that? You see, most of us believe our results are caused by our circumstances, or the situation. They're caused by COVID-19, or they're caused by, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the education, it was the way I grew up, it was some because that we have. And if something's coming to mind for you as your go-to because, write that down, because that's a clue for how you can shift for the future. Because the real source of our results is actually our thoughts. It's up here. And that's good news. And if you ever have been wondering what the predominant thoughts are, that frequency or that vibration, it's in your results, because your results will never lie. And I believe, like for me, this was transformational because some of the things on the outside, I knew I was not going to be able to change. And yet I knew I had power to change my thoughts. So if you're feeling constricted, if you're feeling in any area of your life, in your health, in whatever it may be, even if it is a diagnosis is not a prognosis. So there have been many people who have shifted things with support and help, of course. So that brings me to my first key, which is design what you want. I mean, most of us go through life and we live it by default. We get up in the morning, we do the same kinds of things, we think the same kinds of thoughts and wonder why nothing changes. Well, most of us don't live life by design. We live it by default. We don't actually know what we want. We go to the universe and we say, universe, I want to be healthy. I want to be happy, but we don't define that. And you see, clarity is power. Specificity is essential. If we want to actually live a healthy life, we have to be clear on what that is in the pictures, in the feelings. What is that for you? What would a healthy, maybe happy, or whatever it is that you're looking for in your life be for you? We're talking about health and well-being here. I look at the whole being, and in the health and well-being area, most of us think of, well, what's my circumstance? What is my diagnosis? What can I afford? What, all of the what's. And yet I would ask you to lean into that question a little differently. Instead of, what do my outer circumstances say, or what do I think I can do? Ask this question: what would I love? That actually opens us up to a whole new area of information. What would I love? Not just what do I think I can get or have. Can you feel the difference? I'm sure you can by just the tone of that. But ask yourself, what would I love? And then it's the next key, which is to decide. Now, many of us we might know what we love, but if it stays in the realm of our idea, it's wishful thinking. And that, as we know, can just be entertainment. It really doesn't move into the land of form or our physical experience. So decide. And that's, again, not a kind of sort of decision either. It's a firm decision. There was a gentleman whose name is William Murray. He lived at the time, just after the war, the time of Edmund Hillary, who was Hillary and his team were the first to climb Mount Everest. Now, William Murray wanted to climb Mount Everest. It was his dream. And when Hillary asked him to be on the team, William Murray declined based on his circumstances. For him, those circumstances weren't health related. He had many health related issues because he had been in one of the concentration camps over the war. But he had come through that, and this particular circumstance was a money circumstance. Twice he declined, but this was his dream. And so he made a firm decision that he was going to go after this. And he didn't have the money in his bank account. He barely had the deposit or the amount that would save his spot. But he made that decision anyway. And what he wrote later in his book, Evidence of Things Not Seen, is that until one is committed, there is hesitancy, and the chance to draw back, there is always ineffectiveness. So think of that in your life. Think of a time when, you've made a firm decision and the outcome, and other times when you've just kind of been sort of making a decision and we stay stuck, right? We stay stuck and we don't make decisions because we aren't clear. We aren't clear because we never asked that question, what would I love? We are looking at our outer circumstances usually, and sometimes that isn't really what we'd prefer. So firm decision. The next key is to take action, because as soon as we make a decision, the next thing we must take, if we're going to shift our circumstances, if we're going to change our mindset, if we're actually going to change our lives for the better, is to take action. And as soon as we go to take action, what happens? Well, we're outside our comfort zone, we're on our green growing edge or whatever, and fear will arise. Now, I define fear as anything of a contractive energy, any thought that's a contractive. So it includes doubt, it includes worry, it includes anxiety. All kind of stress is based in fear of some sort. It includes procrastination. Oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Or dissuasion. I really didn't want to do that. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not worthy enough to really have that. All of those are fear-based thoughts. And as I mentioned earlier, all of the fear-based thoughts will start to generate cortisol in your body, which is an immune suppressor. So on the health side, not maybe so great. No, we want to start to use other thoughts. And when we were babies, we didn't come out of the womb as walkers. No. At least I don't think anyone did. We came out and we learned to crawl. And when we wanted to walk and be one of those two-legged creatures, we actually got up and fell down. We got up, we fell down, we got up again until we actually were able to take some steps. And yet as adults, somehow we try something out and we fail, or we don't get it right, and we consider ourselves failures. I don't know what you'd like to do to shift your health, but you may not get it the first time. It may take a bit of effort and a few practices, but it's not failure all the time. It's our choice as to how we look in it. Again, a mindset, feedback or failure. Edison, when he built the first incandescent light bulb, a reporter asked him at a certain point, "Mr. Edison, how did it feel to fail over 1,000 times?" And he is reported to have said, "That was all feedback." So if you even take that into your life, it could shift some things for you. Now, quick recap, there's a formula for greater resilience, ability to spring back in life. Design a blueprint for what you would love. Make a decision for it. Ask, what action can I take today to generate some new results? And then put that in our calendar. You see, again, action without action, it's just not going to go anywhere. If you want, greater health, and you've decided that, well, I need to get more active. For some, that might be the marathon. Well, for many of us, it might be just more walking around the block. Whatever it is, we actually have to put something in our calendar and use the calendar as a transformational tool. You'd be amazed at how quickly things can shift for us when we do. So those are 3 of the keys that I use to help people shift mindset. The biggest issue for people is usually the fear. Sometimes it's getting clear because most of us have not learned really how to even go to our imagination. When I was a child, it was, that was Dreamerville. It was sort of pushed aside. No, get focused on your schooling, right? And do all of that. And it took me a long, long time. I didn't even think I knew how to dream. And yet, once I opened to it and started using some of these principles, my entire life took on new meaning, and there was much greater joy, health, all the pain that I was experiencing when I was on that down escalator with all of those negative thoughts, all of that left, evaporated, and I started to live a life that I absolutely love living. It's an action, one action after another, and one day after another, and waking up in the morning choosing to be in a day that I'm going to create for myself. Often we're reactive. When we aren't clear on what we would want, we don't know, we're just reacting to circumstances that come to us rather than actually having a roadmap and the lines in the road. We don't get off on detours down, and get lost. I used to say I used to go down a lot of exit ramps, and it took me a long time to move forward. in terms of a vision, decision, and action. So as I complete here in terms of my talk, Goethe, a philosopher, says at the time of commitment or a decision, the entire universe, and in fact, the entire omniverse conspires to assist you. And as I mentioned before, you are far more powerful than any circumstance, situation, or condition you could ever face. And with that, I will complete. If you'd like to know more about some of these principles or strategies, that's my contact information. So Rowena, it's back to you.
Thank you so much, Eve. That was really fascinating. And I really appreciated the fact that it was very sort of practical and positive, and it gave us a plan of what we should be doing. And so actually, Eve, do you want to talk a little bit more about your ebook?
Sure. Yeah, I had a slide up, but it's called 3 Easy Ways to Manage Fear, Doubt, and what is it? Stress and fear, anxiety, and stress. I think it's all self-care related. I go into ways to actually work with the physical body in to reduce all that cortisol and the fear, and also some ideas as to how we get into some of these patterns of thought and fear to begin with. So 3 easy ways to manage fear, doubt, stress, anxiety, stress, and fear. I can't remember. I'm having a block on the title right now. Anyway, I can put a link up later. Or what you're sharing a link to the winner. There's some.
Yes. So if people want to go ahead and start typing their questions in as they think them, whether they're questions for Eve or any of the upcoming speakers, please type them into the chat or into the Q&A. And if we ask your question, oh, Eve, did you want to?
I found the title. It's 3 Easy Ways to Manage Stress, Anxiety, and Fear.
Amazing. So. And at this point, I'm going to hand back over to Dr. Remy. Thank you ever so much, Eve.
Wow, thank you, Rowena. Thank you so much, Eve. What an inspirational and very thoughtful presentation. We have power to change our thoughts, isn't it? But we have to be clear in doing that. Clarity is power. I will definitely be reading more about the results formula. Our thoughts manifest into our feelings and then into our actions, and that leads to results. I look forward to reading your book. Thank you so much. Now it's my delight to welcome our next speaker, Her Excellency, Mrs. Olawumi Ashekun. Mrs. Ashekun moved to Canada in September 2017 as the wife of the current Nigeria High Commissioner to Canada. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Certified Accountants in the United Kingdom, and she holds a Bachelor of Economics degree from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. She started her career as a chartered accountant in the United Kingdom, working for the Eastern Gas and Power and ExxonMobil. In Nigeria, she worked with Orlando PLC, a leading indigenous integrated energy solutions provider, where she held various executive, board level, and management level positions. Mrs. Ashekun enjoys reading books on general well-being, leadership, and has a passion for social impact. Please join me as we welcome Mrs. Ashekun. Take it up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege and honor for me to be part of this webinar on the COVID-19 series. I was very excited when Mrs. Dr. Adewale first told me about this series that she's doing. And tonight I'm going to talk about using compassion as a resilient tool during COVID-19. I'm not a subject matter expert on COVID-19, but we've all had experience of this pandemic one way or the other, with the guidelines, the lockdown, and how it's affected our loved ones one way or the other. And I'm going to be sharing from a very practical point of view tonight on how I have personally used compassion as a tool to manage in this very, very challenging times that we're in. I'm happy about what Women Focus Canada is doing. And I know that there's a lot of focus on the Afro-Caribbean community. Can we go to the next slide, please? So I just got this statistical information which buttresses the fact that not-for-profit organization like Women Focus should be having this kind of conversations. It's saying that in Toronto, that the share of COVID-19, that there is a 21%, the Blacks have a 21% share of COVID-19 cases, and the South Asian or Indo-Caribbean, 20%, which is quite large. And here in Toronto, in Ottawa, where I live, the CBC News posted it on the 21st that people of color make up 66% of Ottawa's COVID-19 case. So that just buttresses the fact that we should be having conversations like this. We should be sharing our experiences, and those of us with expertise in wellness, in anxiety management, managing fear should give us tips like the one we had from the very insightful ones we had from Eve. Next slide, please. Next slide. So we know that this is the COVID-19 is an ongoing global pandemic. The guidelines seem to be, changing, and the mandates seem to be changing. One minute there's a lockdown, we think the curve is flattening, and next minute there's a spike and the enforcement is up again. We've had to deal with social distancing, self-isolation. Like I said earlier, we know that the Afro-Caribbean community has been greatly, greatly affected. Frontline workers, like health workers especially, are largely at risk, and we're very grateful and appreciative of the work that they've all been doing. There's been disruption to the school system, and there's been disruption to families as well. In some homes, the two parents have had to, have lost their jobs. Some parents have had to cope with different kinds of mental health issues. Next slide, please. So how do we respond to all these issues that have been thrown up by COVID-19? How do we respond to it? Through compassion. And what exactly is compassion? Compassion is a desire to help. So we think about helping, and we go about actualizing it. It's about empathy. It's about trying to understand how that next person feels. It's the act of service. So you have the desire to do something, and like Eve said, you actually go out and provide that service. And by helping others too, we can also control our own emotions. So we need to show compassion to, like I said, to the frontline workers, to students, to the aged population, and employers need to show compassion to their employees as well. Next slide, please. So tonight, there's something wrong with my screen. I'm trying to get rid of, Excuse me, please. Right, okay, right. So I'm going to start by talking about compassion to children that are in school. In March of this year, when the first lockdown was announced, I had to take 3 other teenagers into our residence because my husband is the High Commissioner of Nigeria. We have a number of Nigerian students here that are in boarding school. And the few of them that we knew were not able to go back home to their parents. So before the airspace closed, so we had to take them in, 3 of them. And I also have 2 teenagers. So I had 5 teenagers in my house, all between the ages of 15 and 17. So you can imagine what that meant. And we thought this was going to be over in 2-3 weeks, but no, it didn't. We had 5 of them with us for up until September. And they were doing their school via virtual learning. This was all new to everybody. And we had to find a way of coping. We had to find a way of making sure they were concentrating on school and, they were also comfortable. When I was going through my research for this, I read through a quote from Tamra Chansky. She's a clinical psychologist that writes on anxiety, fear, and how to cope during the pandemic. And she says, kids are going to watch what their parents' expressions. They're going to watch their parents' expressions as much as listen to their words. And teens especially are looking to their parents as role models for how to cope. So in the twinkle of an eye, I became the mother of 5 teenagers. And at the same time, because this is something no one had ever had experience of, my domestic staff also felt the need to stay with their own family. So they didn't come to work. So what are the things I did at that time? Share health information with the children, and the health information has to be age appropriate and fact-based information. Share information that we have about the pandemic, listen to the children, what information they have, be very calm with them, be very honest with them, and be very open with them. So we have to be calm with them, we have to be honest with them, we have to be very open with them. I had to try to pay more attention to their homework, because here they were every morning, wake up, sit at their computer, a teacher talking to them from 8:05 in the morning to about 4:00 in the evening with about an hour's break. It was all too much for them, and trying to do homework after school was also quite a challenge. So one had to pay a lot of attention to their homework. One had to listen to their frustrations. They want to go out, they want to see their friends, they want to do sports, all manner of things. They want to go to the grocery stores. One had to listen to them and respond to their frustrations in love. What I also found that helped me in trying to show compassion to them also was we set up a daily routine. So even though they all had schoolwork to do, there was also the housework that had to be done because we didn't have domestic staff. So I set up a timetable, and everybody had their own role that they had to play after school and maybe during their lunchtime. And I found out that during that period when they all come down to do their chores in the evenings and get something to eat, there was a bond between all 5 of them. That was the time they all got together to chat and, you know, talk about what went on in school via the virtual learning. And it was also a time to learn 1 or 2 things also. And I also, to help them with coping with looking at their laptops, I had to get screens for them to, you know, to help them not to get the gleam to their eyes from the laptop. And I also found that at this very difficult time, one had to praise them for little successes. So if their teacher wrote, because I had become their guardian, their teacher wrote a letter to say they did well in a subject, you know, you blow the trumpet and celebrate them and encourage them where one felt that they fell short. One also tried to encourage them to get adequate sleep, even though that was very difficult. But, you know, always try to encourage them so that they can be alert for the next day's job. And what I found out during that critical period between March and July, when between March and first week in June, when school actually closed, was that one had to pay attention to their mental health. So I have a headache. Some of them will have mood swings. Some of them just don't want to talk. Some of them just want to stay in their rooms, especially at that critical time when we couldn't go out at all. It was quite difficult. So I had to really pay attention to them and try and give each of them a lot of counseling and show of love in my own little way. Next slide, please. There were disruptions to school. So when the schools started again in September, it wasn't the same again. They were all looking forward to going back to school, but it turned out to be, unfortunately, a little bit of a disappointment. So for instance, my son, he loves sports so much. He enjoys school mainly because of sports, but my son could not play sports again, and that he found very frustrating. So I encouraged him to go out for a run when he comes back from school, go out for a run, and at the weekend as well, play a bit of basketball. Those who have a dog can let their children walk the dog as well. Just so that they get fresh air in, they let out their frustration and, you know, and their energy. Meals were no longer provided at school. Meals in the cafeteria is a place where they all meet after school to, you know, to talk, to chat, and to be teenagers and children. That was no longer there. So we had to start preparing very healthy meals. I pay a lot of attention to their meals at home to make sure that, you know, they're taking healthy meals to school. They're no longer allowed to gather in small groups after school also. So we tend to, you know, it will be nice, just as a show of love, to let them use their telephones a little bit more so that they can, you know, chat with their friends. One tries to talk to them to control the use of these phones, but, you know, it's all about give and take at this very challenging time. Next slide, please. So how do we show compassion to the elderly? We know that the elderly are at, you know, a higher risk of contracting this disease. I read in the National Institute of Aging Canada, one of their publications that says COVID-19 has shifted Canadians' view on aging in their own homes rather than retirement or nursing homes. Our prayer is that there'll be a solution to this pandemic, and you know, we would all be able, even the elderly will be able to go back to the kind of life they will have wanted. But how do we show love to them? You know, we can continue to use technology to drive the interaction with them. So Zoom time with families, FaceTime, you know, more phone calls, visit them through the windows of the hospital or the care homes where they stay. You know, we can arrange delivery of some groceries where it's allowed. Talk to them over the phone, ask about their appetite, ask about their sleep patterns, answer their question honestly and with love, you know, and then just generally provide more encouragement. Next slide, please. Next slide. So families as a whole, we are thankful the Canadian government is providing stimulus packages to those who have lost their jobs. I know a few families where both husband and wife, you know, have lost their jobs. As a show of love and compassion, those who can donate non-perishable items, non-perishable food items to those people should do that. We continue to use technology to communicate and encourage each other where we're unable to see our loved ones. For instance, this year I had plans for my loved ones to come over during summer, some of my family, but they couldn't, you know, but we keep communicating thanks to Zoom and the advancement in technology. And also we know that the government is trying to ease some of the restrictions for people's extended families to come in. Mothers especially need a lot of encouragement, a lot of love and compassion at this very challenging time. And for me as a mother that has had to take on 5 teenagers, you know, unexpectedly, I've had to look for what I call me time, you know, even if it's just 30 minutes every day, where I just go into a room, have a drink, just sit down to get my, you know, to recalibrate and get myself together again. So those are the next slide, please. Those are the tips that I have on how we can show compassion in order to, you know, as a resilient tool to manage this very difficult time that we're in. And by God's grace, we would overcome the pandemic by keeping to the government's guidelines and by showing love to one another. I hope that helps in my own little way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Her Excellency Mrs. Olawumi Asheku, for such a phenomenal and impactful presentation on compassion as a resilience tool for individuals and families. The impacts of lockdown and isolation have affected many people, and one way, as you have stated, is to be helpful to one another. It's by showing compassion, the desire to help. Kids are watching their parents' expressions, you said. And you reminded us it's important for us to be honest, to be calm, and to be open with our children. Thank you so much for those helpful tips on how to show love and compassion as Canadians during this unprecedented time. Because you know what? That is what we're good at doing as Canadians. This is a very, very perfect segue to our next speaker, who will be elaborating on compassion and more on self-care. We want to use this time to remind you to please type in your questions in the chat box as you listen to our speakers. It is my pleasure to welcome and invite our next speaker, Yulie Soloha. Yulie is a registered nurse, a doula, a midwifery student, and a registered yoga instructor. Yulie has been providing family-centered care since 2017. Yulie sees every family as unique and help them to achieve their goals by using mindfulness techniques and by connecting them to essential resources. Friends, please join me to welcome our next speaker, Yulia. Take it up.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm so happy to be here. I just want to take a quick moment to thank Women Focus Canada and acknowledge that we're all on Turtle Island, known as Canada now. And we are coming here from a variety of places, and I appreciate this community and this moment to talk about self-care. So as you see, I have labels. I have roles, responsibilities, just as all of us do. All of our amazing speakers have so much to share and through their life work, and our listeners as well. And I say this because we strive to live, to be productive. We wake up every day and we usually have something to do, but we don't make sure that self-care is a big part of that. And so I will be talking a little bit about tools for a more grounded state of being. And I want to acknowledge that all of us are unique and we have the capacity to be resilient, just as some of the other speakers mentioned. Resiliency, I believe, is a wavelength, right? It can, one day we have a lot of resiliency and another wake up and we're feeling down, especially during the pandemic and challenging times. There's so many things that happen that are out of our control and places in a spot of discomfort. And when we are uncomfortable, we're often unsure on how to face these challenges. And the best way is to have an imaginary, or maybe not, a toolbox designed for self-care. My method is to even do a sticky note in my bedroom, in my bathroom, and write these tools that I have that I sometimes forget about. And one of them that I will be talking about today is going to be the importance and value of setting positive self-affirmations and how much they can change how we view ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, and how we can change our actual day-to-day lives. This quote over here that you can see in the slide, be good to yourself. How many of us are good and kind and compassionate towards ourselves every single day? If you're one of those people, that's incredible. But I think things like facing a pandemic, facing challenges in life can sometimes make us have a little bit of negative thought process. And just like positive or negative, the butterfly effect can affect not only ourselves, but other people as well. I invite you in my next slide to tune into a 3-minute animation. If you have children, you can ask them to join because it is a fantastic video that you can also find on YouTube. It is called The Reflection in Me. And the value of setting positive self-affirmations and viewing yourself in a positive light can really change your day, your thinking, and your actual reality. So tune in with me, sit back, and enjoy.
I like being you, said the reflection in the mirror. To me, you are perfectly perfect. I blushed. Me? Yes, you. And by the way, you have wonderful eyes. I blinked, astonished. I do? Absolutely. They sparkle like stars on the darkest of nights. I gazed downward. Thank you. Your eyes sparkle too. Sweet of you to say. You have a marvelous voice. I gently whispered, you really think so? Of course. You sound as joyous as a songbird, whistling in the trees. And you have a magnificent smile. I sheepishly grinned. Well, Mama always says, start every day with a smile. I agree. Your smile is as bright and cheerful as the sun in the sky, and you are quite smart. I took a step towards the mirror. I do try very hard. You sure do. You're as brilliant as a rocket scientist. I like that you are friendly. I leaned in closer. It's very important to be nice, you know. It sure is. You're as peaceful as a butterfly. And you have a lot of courage. I raised my head high. I auditioned for the school play today. Outstanding. You're as brave as a lion. You're a fantastic dancer. I spread my arms wide. Watch how fast I can twirl. Around and around I went. Amazing. You're as graceful as a dolphin gliding through the sea. I plopped on the ground, giggling as the room playfully spun around. And you have a terrific laugh. Thank you very much. Your chuckle fills the air with bubbly joy. But most of all, I like your heart. Your kindness is as beautiful as a rainbow. I stood up and walked towards the mirror. To me, you are perfectly perfect. I gently pressed my hands against the glass. I like being you. We smiled in unison. I like being you too. I want to be you forever.
I hope you enjoyed that little animation. So yes, let us go inward in a compassionate way. As you listen to me going along, and maybe join me in a couple of activities in a couple of minutes, I want you to start reflecting on how you feel in this moment, what you do already for yourself, and what kind of things can you learn maybe from us today. Maybe you already have some ideas, write them down for yourself and begin to really fill that toolbox in regards to your self-care. Awesome. So one of them was building positive self-affirmations. And the second tool that I'm going to offer to you today, it's called habit stacking. Some of you may have already heard about it. It was developed by BJ Fogg, F-O-G-G, if you're interested in looking further. And this tool was talked about by many other individuals. The essence of this tool is to work with your current habits that you do already every single day, and they are part of your everyday routine. It's something that is so embedded that you don't have to think twice of doing it. So things like brushing your teeth, maybe pouring a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe it is putting your pajamas on before you go to bed, anything that you do every day. The reason you want to try doing habit stacking is because if you want to achieve, let's say you want to be really good at meditation. In mindfulness societies and communities, there's a lot of talk about meditation and yoga and things like that. And often we're a little bit maybe afraid to start it up. This is a really good tool to get good at something, maybe even if it is positive self-affirmations, by combining it with a habit that already exists. So, for example, you wake up in the morning and you go brush your teeth. You say to yourself, after I brush my teeth, I'm going to take 10 deep breaths. And you can only imagine what 10 deep breaths can do. It seems like nothing, it seems very small and simple, but that's the idea of habit stacking. You want to pick something that seems small and that you can repeat over and over again every day. You can think of a variety of things that may be helpful to you. This is just, it's called self-care bingo, just some ideas that would work for you. You know, maybe it is 5 push-ups a day, those kinds of things. And again, creating that butterfly effect for yourself and for others. When you do things like taking 10 deep breaths in the morning, it will decrease your cortisol levels that you've spoke about. It will improve your mental health, decrease stress, and make you more present and more productive in your everyday life. I really enjoy this visual. It says, trust your instincts to go towards joy. Also trust your instincts to stay away from people who tell your instincts are wrong. And this is great because our intuition will tell us about what it is that we need the most, right? If we're feeling stressed, maybe you do need 10 deep breaths every day. And maybe in a month, it would be a great idea to reevaluate how you're feeling. I want to take a moment together. Please do feel free to join me. It is an invitation, not a requirement. If you feel comfortable in your space, whether you're at home, in your office, wherever it may be, the place is quiet or it is a little bit chaotic and loud, maybe there's kids or family around, I invite you to come into a present moment with me. Please close your eyes if you can, and if you're comfortable, your hands. Often we don't know what to do when we close our eyes and sit and try and meditate. Our hands can go on our heart, they can go on the belly, or just on the knees. As you close your eyes, I invite you to take a deep breath in. As you expand your lungs and your belly, try to feel that sensation. Observe where your body is at in this moment. As you exhale, try and release a bit of tension away from the body. At the end of the day, it is a beautiful thing to take a few deep breaths, inviting calming energy, inhale, and as you exhale, release a little bit of tension. Now I want to apply a little bit of a visual. With your eyes closed, imagine you're looking at yourself, the same way you just saw in that animation. You're looking at yourself and yourself is smiling back at you. That smile is genuine, it is filled with love and compassion, and it is truly there for you. Now, your reflection is speaking to you. They say, you are loved. You are appreciated. You matter in this moment, and you have a purpose. As you begin to smile back, feeling this love, this compassion and truth that is being spoken to you, I want you to imagine placing that whole notion into your heart center, inviting that to be a part of you. We'll take one more deep breath in, and as you exhale, blink your eyes open, coming back to this moment. Whoever joined me, I thank you. And you can also practice that at any time of the day, afternoon, and evening. Tools that we can all practice. This is a brief summary and just reiteration of the tools that you can place into your toolbox. So self-compassion and self-care, really, it is about the positive self-affirmations a day at a time. Sometimes we don't believe that we are powerful or that we are loved, or we kind of, like I said, spiral into that negative thinking. But even if you don't believe it yet and you practice it every day, it will become a part of your reality. Our thoughts do have the capacity to change that. Habit stacking, again, a practice. It has to be practiced to become a part of your life. Meditation and goal setting are great tools to help you visualize where you're headed and where you're at. Movement. This is our last little act that we want to do together. Movement has the capacity to release stagnant energy. So as we're sitting here together, probably at the desk, we're not moving very much. Those of us who are in school or have meetings all day long, we're still sitting in certain positions, we're not moving, we're breathing a bit shallower. And so energy becomes dense. One of the ways to shake it off is to move every 20, 30 minutes. Today, right now, I invite you to try this. We don't have to get up and dance, but you can if you want to. You are in your own space. Place your hands together and begin to rub them. Very simple task. Might seem a little silly, but begin to rub them until you feel heat. And then when it feels nice and warm, I want you to stop and open your palms. You might feel a little bit of tingling, energy moving around in your palms, and that is exactly what we want. Let's do that again. Rub the palms together, create some heat, and this time we're gonna place the palms on our heart and take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath in, you can close your eyes, inhale, and exhale, maybe even sigh it out. One more time, breath in and out. Until we face ourselves and check in with ourselves honestly and truthfully, we might feel that stagnant energy within. We might feel a little stuck. So I invite you to use these tools, write them down, put on sticky notes, and surround it around your house and your space. Remind yourself of your capabilities because you're all able and you do have support. You just have to reach out. Let's connect whenever you wish to. This is my email as well as my website. I thank you so much for your attention and in joining me in all of these fun exercises. Thank you very much.
Wow. Julia, I should have given you an hour for this presentation. What an astonishing, sensational, and practical presentation. Thank you. We strive to be productive, but we don't always incorporate self-care into our busy lives. I think many of us can relate to that. You have reminded us today that we need to do that and we need to be good to ourselves. I personally enjoyed the video, The Reflection in Me. Very beautiful. Thank you. I invite you to make reflection your daily routine and always remember that you are unique and resilient. We have been reminded about that today. It's about positive affirmation. If you don't do that to yourself, for yourself, who will? Thank you, Juliet. It is my great delight to welcome and invite the last speaker for today, Sheridan Tolimson. With over 25 years of experience, Sheridan is passionate about helping people achieve their health and wellness goals through lifestyle coaching. She is a wellness and lifestyle medicine educator and a registered kinesiologist with the College of Kinesiologists of Ontario. Sheridan is a health advocate, a research scientist, and the owner and founder of Thompson Lifestyle Medicine Consulting. Sheridan is currently pursuing a doctorate in the healthcare sciences with a focus on clinical health science. I'm going to give it away now to Sheridan. Take it up.
Hi, everyone. Good night. How is everyone doing? Okay, so I'll be talking about practicing mindfulness with self-care. And before I begin, I'd like to thank Dr. Remy for inviting me today. Thank you very much. Okay, so today I'll be talking about, again, I mentioned practicing mindfulness with self-care. So I'll be talking about what is self-care, and I'm going to give you some tips. Some of the tips that I saw, I love it. I love it. I'm going to try some of them as well too. So some of the tips I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk about mindful play, and then I'm going to give you a summary. Okay. All right. So when we talk about mindfulness, most of the time we look at it as just yoga. You know, like, okay, that's all there is about mindfulness, but there's more than just yoga. Although mindfulness is part of yoga and a part of, you know, meditation, or meditation is part of mindfulness, it's more than that. So what mindfulness is, it's an approach to everyday life that makes life more enjoyable and less stressful. As you know, COVID makes us very, very stressful, make us very depressed. So practicing something like a mindful practice that will help us ease our stress and will make us, you know, feel a little bit better. We practice mindfulness every day. We don't realize it, but we do. We practice it every single day. We practice it when we eat, if we're walking, if we're, you know, sitting down, or even at our office desk. We practice it every day. And what it entails is we do it in the present moment. We don't think about the past or we don't think about the future. So we think about it right here and then, right in the present moment. And we do it without judgment. And we're aware of our feelings. So it makes us feel good. It's good for the soul. Mindfulness is good for the soul. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everyone to get their phone. If you have your phone, get your phone. We're going to do a little activity with our phone. So you're going to have your phone in your hands and you're going to feel your phone. Have you ever thought that your phone was heavy or light? Have you ever looked at your phone and say, "Oh my gosh, it's so light"? Have you ever thought about that? You might not have, but your phone could be light or heavy. So that's part of a mindful practice where we pay attention in the present. Also, we have a whole bunch of symbols or icon on our phone. Have you ever looked at all the icons that's on your phone to see, okay, does it work? What is it for? Have you ever paid attention to it? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. So part of mindfulness or mindful practice is paying attention to things around you and being appreciative. And this makes you less stressful. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel, because oftentimes we forget about taking care of ourselves. We forget about feeling good. We forget this feel good feeling. So, practicing mindfulness and including it into your daily routine, it makes you feel good. It's good for the soul, as I said before. What's the point of mindfulness? When we talk about mindfulness, why do we practice it? Well, we practice it because it's good for our health. It's good for our health. As you can see on the screen, there's lots of benefits of practicing mindfulness, practice. Also, there's again, I said stress-free. It's good. It releases energy. So it increases your energy, it increases your balance, it reduces pain. There's studies that shows that when people practice mindfulness, if you have diabetes or if you're experiencing hypertension, high blood pressure, or you want to boost your immune system, there's studies that show that when you do mindful practice, this is really good for you. It's really good for you because you're releasing tension. You're releasing tension in your body. So it also improves your sleep, as you can see on the screen right there. And it's good. It's a good way to focus. It's a good way to have your focus in memory. So this is why I practice it, and this is why you should practice it. Okay, so mindfulness should be part of self-care, I think. And the reason why is self-care, as the other speakers have spoken about, when we talk about self-care, don't look at it as being, say, okay, I'm being selfish. Sometimes especially women, we're the caregivers. We're the caregivers. We take care of the family, and we look after the family, and then sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. So because of that, when we don't take care of ourselves, what happens to us is that we get fatigue. We get fatigue, we get stress, and sometimes we get pain. So self-care is very, very, very important. I know the other speakers has emphasized on it, but sometimes we have to be selfish in a way where we're taking care of our health. So we need self-care, and mindful practice is a perfect, I guess, the perfect tool for self-care and also to take care of ourselves. Okay, so it's new. A lot of people are not aware of what mindful practice is. So maybe people might not want to do it because they're afraid. They're in their comfort zone and they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. So is it for you? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But look at the healthy side of it. Mindfulness is a very, very, very healthy thing to do. Again, you see all the benefits in the last slide. There's so many benefits. It makes you live happier life. It makes you feel good, enjoy life. And if you're gonna practice it, you practice it the way you want to practice it. I look at it as, you know what, you don't have to do, say, if you don't want to meditate or you don't want to do certain things as mindfulness, you make your adjustment. You make what's comfortable for you. You make it what's more comfortable for you. So that's how I look at the mindfulness. I love doing it, and I hope I'm taking away. I hope me talking about it is you're getting all excited, saying yes, I want to try this. This is really fun to do. So in the next slides, I'm going to show you some mindful play. I call it mindful play because it's fun activities. There are things. It's activities or tools to make you feel good. The last speaker spoke of a self-care toolbox. I love that. I love it. I'm going to try some of her activities. The bingo self-care is awesome. That's an awesome thing to have and all that. So I'm going to show you some mindfulness and things that you could do, for your mindful practice, and also, for your self-care. Okay, so coloring. Maybe you think, you know what, coloring is for kids. No, it's not. It's not only for kids. Now they have adult coloring books and all that. So you could try coloring if you feel that you're stressed and you want to relieve the tension in your body. Coloring is a great thing to do. My mom, she started coloring. She loves it. She loves coloring. I ordered a whole bunch of coloring books from Amazon, and she's enjoying it. So she likes to do it. So you could try coloring it for just to relieve your stress and to make you feel good. Also, word search or puzzle, any type of those puzzle to keep your mind at ease and in the present as well. Remember, we don't want to be like past or what do you call it, behind. We want to be right in the middle. We want to be in the present. We want to be in the present moment. We want to enjoy everything in the present moment. Also, reading a good book, not a sad book, because that's going to make you feel too depressed and all that, whatever. But you could read a nice book. Maybe it could be an inspirational book. The first speaker, she has a book. That sounds very, very inspirational. You could read books like that. That's going to, self-help yourself, build your self-esteem, make you feel good, and so forth. So these are type of mindful play that you could do. You could also find a hobby. Choose a hobby. My hobby is sewing. I love to sew. When I sew, I feel good. That makes me feel really, really good. So sewing for me is a good hobby. You could also, if you enjoy cooking, cooking is another mindful practice that you could also do when you're feeling down. Some people, they enjoy cooking, and maybe they enjoy it because it makes them feel good. So that's good, and they're in the present as well too. Also, baking. You could also try baking as well too. Painting, picking up, get out of your comfort zone. Maybe try painting. Try doing arts and craft or things like that. Those are things are mindful practices that are good. They're fun. They're fun things, fun things to do. So you could try some of those activities. Again, the last speaker, she spoke of mindful meditation. Mindful meditation, of course, that's I guess the center of what mindfulness is all about. And when we do meditation, we relieve stress. So these are evidence-based research that shows that these things, help our body. It makes the body, I guess, function in a nice, healthy way. So it reduces our stress, it controls our anxiety, it promotes, of course, our emotional health, our mental health, and it improves our sleep, and it controls our pain. And I mentioned some of these I mentioned already, but meditation is really, really good. When we talk about meditation, sometimes we look at it as, oh, it's non-religious. It's not religion, and there's no religion in it. And then if you're a religious person, you might not want to do it because you think that, what, because it's not religious, it might seem that it's kind of like a bad thing to do, and so forth. But no, it's not. Meditation is good for you. As you can see, the last speaker, she did some type of, she did different meditation exercises, and I really enjoy them. I want to try them. I really love them. Thank you. Yeah, so meditation activities that you could incorporate in your mindfulness practice. You could read your religious scripture, or even praying by yourself, finding a quiet space in your home and reading your scriptures or praying, or you could also do a home treatment, a home spa treatment. You could have your own spa. You don't have to spend. I always tell people, when you do mindfulness or any type of activities that are fun, you don't need to go out and spend money. Stay in your home. Yes, stay in your home and have fun. Stay in your home and have fun. You could have your own home spa, like have your own manicure, your own pedicure, or give yourself a nice Epsom salt bath and just relax. Again, deep breathing exercises. We did some of them. That's really good. Or just listen to quiet music. Or also they have meditation music. They also have music like listening to the ocean. Listen to the ocean. That's a nice quiet. Or the rain. I like to listen to the rain. It makes me sleep. Yeah, listening to the rain. Or if you're in the Caribbean, I know my sister is here. She's in the Caribbean, so she's lucky she could do this. Going for a walk on the beach, and listening to the wave and just sitting there and relaxing and just being in the present and just feeling yourself and feeling good. So that's what you can do for your meditation. For us, we live in Canada. It's the fall now, so go out. Tomorrow's supposed to be 11 degrees, so you could go out and enjoy the fall colors. Look at the flowers. Look at the flowers. Sorry, the leaves, how they're changing, and just absorb it. Just absorb it and just feel good in that present moment. Okay, my favorite, exercise is medicine. You can't go wrong with exercise. Exercise is better than taking all those, pills and all that, whatever. Exercise, as you can see, there's lots of benefits from exercise. And when I talk about, like incorporating exercise in your daily routine, I'm not talking about saying, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift heavy weights and I'm going to make it, too, strenuous. No, make it fun. You could even exercise in your own home. There's YouTube. There's YouTube where you could just, again, you're saving money. So there's YouTube. You could use, YouTube. You could use YouTube and you could go on and you do exercises and all that. And also put on some dance music. The other previous speaker, she spoke about dancing and rubbing. You could, move your body. It's good to move. Movement is really good. When we sit, like what she said, that makes us, it makes the body, like in a I guess in a state of maybe laziness, pain and all that. So just move your body and have fun. Do exercise, walking, exercise, dance aerobics, little lights. If you want a little, like little strength training, you could do something light, so little light strength training, but incorporate exercise into your daily routine. It would make you feel good. Also, eating healthy. That's part of mindfulness as well too. They have mindful eating. So healthy eating is another way to incorporate a little mindful practice in your routine and all that. And eating healthy, we know it's good for the body, right? It gives us good nutrients and it makes us feel good. But when we eat too much junk food, they call it, it makes us fatigue. It makes us lazy, and it puts a lot of stress on us. And then of course we gain weight. When we eat a lot of, like, I guess junk food, whatever. But just have a nice healthy diet. Have a nice healthy diet. Okay. All right. So in summary, when we do all these mindfulness activities, we do it without judgment. So you don't judge yourself. If you don't know how to dance, so what? Just move your body, right? We don't want to judge ourselves. That's not part of what mindfulness is all about. It's a non-judgmental thing that we do all the time, and you pay attention again to the present. Forget about the past and forget about the future. It's what's important is now. Is that you're in this state of moments. That's what's more important. And you accept yourself. You be kind to yourself. I always say, put your hands around you. If you're, put your hands around you and tell yourself, I love myself. I love me. I'm going to take care of myself. And that's what self-care is all about. And mindfulness is part of self-care. It's part of self-care, and just incorporate it. Mindfulness matters. It really does. It matters. It makes us feel good. As you can see, the pandemic, it has really, we're not used to locking up. We're not used to being in our home or being controlled. Let's say, I'm not gonna say lock up because that sounds kind of, too drastic. But we're not used to be in control where, we can't go certain places, we can't do certain things. We have to line up all the time to go in the store. We were used to going to the store with no ease, but now, we're all locked up. So we have to find a way to release all that tension, release all that stress. And mindful practice is a great way, is a great way to relieve all of that. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sheridan, for that wonderful presentation. What an amazing and thought-provoking presentation. We have been reminded that exercise is medicine, and practicing mindfulness is a good and healthy option and habits. Meditation reduces stress, control anxiety, and enhances self-awareness. I will definitely adapt more self-care strategies based on these wonderful presentations today. I'm just going to spend a few minutes to just recap today's presentation. We have learned, we have been reminded today that the roadmap to success requires that you and I look after ourselves, love ourselves, and be kind to one another.
Yeah.
The speakers thought about building resiliency and practicing self-compassion and self-care. What a remarkable and awesome presentations. My heartfelt love and deep appreciations to all the speakers. With the funding support of the Canadian Red Cross Society and the Government of Canada, Women Focus Canada has had the privilege and honor over the last 11 weeks to engage the Afro-Caribbean community across the Greater Toronto area in conversation, information sharing, and knowledge exchange related to COVID-19 and the impact of pandemic on the community. Initially, we set out to reach 1,000 individuals through this project to elevate community awareness, disseminate information, provide education about the prevention, effects, and the risk of COVID-19, and explain how to access critical services so that individuals not only can survive this pandemic, but thrive during and beyond COVID-19. To accomplish our goal, the project addressed topics such as COVID-19 information, intervention and prevention, anxiety, depression, and coping strategies during COVID-19, intimate partner violence, human rights issues, and access to legal support, developing young professionals during COVID-19, prepare tomorrow's leaders today. Canadians unite for equity during COVID-19. We also had topics such as the effects of the COVID-19 on marriages and relationships. There was one on freelancing as an alternative income source during and after COVID-19. We had topics such as leadership and professional development during COVID-19. We also thought it's important to talk about food. So we had topic on nutrition and physical health during COVID-19 pandemic. One of our topics was on entrepreneurship, managing your finances during and after COVID-19, and youth understanding consent. No always means no. I am thrilled to share that the project has exceeded our expectations. Through a series of webinars, videos, and social media live chats, we have reached 5,149 individuals to date. This is a remarkable accomplishment. Alongside all the success we've experienced with this project, sadly to say that the challenges around COVID-19 continue. Public health officials continue to work diligently. However, we do not have an end in sight for the virus. This means the work continues. We invite you to join Women Focus Canada in helping us to continue this work. Please visit our website at www.womenfocuscanada.org to learn how you can support our work and partner with us. My speech today will not be complete without giving thanks to the Almighty God for His grace and mercy. To the Women Focus Canada directors, work group members, associates, and volunteers, your professionalism and commitment have made remarkable and so greatly appreciated. My concluding remarks are so to acknowledge the hard work, dedication, and resilience that our staff have demonstrated over the past 3 months to make this project a success. My deepest and sincere thanks to my colleague, my co-moderator and technical support, Roina Power. I thank you so dearly. Thank you.
It's been my pleasure. It's been a wonderful journey.
Thank you. I want to recognize the efforts and the talents of many speakers and moderators who have shared their knowledge, experience, information, and wisdom on different topics during this series of 12 webinars. You are all appreciated. I want to thank you, our amazing participants, including those who are watching us today and those who have attended our past webinars. Your support has been invaluable. I want to conclude today with a heartfelt tribute to the Canadian Red Cross Society and the government of Canada for partnering with Women Focus Canada and supporting us in this project. As an organization, we are fortunate, but not exclusively by luck. We see this work as privilege and an honor that we do not take lightly at all. This, I say, is just the beginning of a long way to go in supporting the vulnerable communities in the Greater Toronto area, in Ontario as a whole, in Canada and beyond. We are well positioned for the work ahead, and we look forward to your continued support. You are encouraged to follow us on our social media platforms and visit our website for updates. We want to thank you again. We say goodbye for now, and we say keep safe. Take care of yourself and each other. Thank you, and God bless you.